Right in the middle of our argument, she looked at me and said, "Let's be real. You need me far more than I need you. So if you don't start acting right, I'll just replace you." I didn't say a single word. The very next day, I canceled her phone, stopped making the car payments, removed her from my health insurance, and shut down everything that was under my name. A few hours later, she called me from a friend's phone in full panic mode. I simply said, "Then go find your replacement," and I hung up. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoy stories like this. And if you have a story of your own, feel free to send it to me. You'll find my contact information in the description below, and I'd be happy to feature your story in a future video. Thanks. As I'm telling this story, I'm sitting in my new living room. It's peaceful. No reality shows blasting through the apartment, no mountain of Sephora bags scattered across the hallway, and no atmosphere so tense it feels impossible to breathe. For the first time in 3 years, my bank account is actually increasing instead of bleeding money, and even my resting heart rate has dropped by almost 10 beats per minute. But if you want to understand how I got here and the complete scorched earth operation I had to launch to finally achieve this peace, you need to understand the relationship between me, a 29-year-old guy, and my ex-girlfriend, who we'll call Vanessa, a 27-year-old woman. I'm a software engineer, and I make good money. I'm not flying around in private jets, but I earn enough that I don't really stress about grocery prices. I grew up with very little, so financial security means everything to me. When I love someone, I naturally want to make their life easier. I want to take away their burdens. Vanessa, however, was mostly ornamental. That sounds cruel, but looking back, I realize that's exactly how she saw herself. She was trying to become a lifestyle influencer, and in our relationship, that basically meant posting pictures of the dinners I paid for, the vacations I funded, and the apartment I rented, all while using captions like Moss Babe and #selfmade. At first, I didn't mind. I loved her deeply. She was beautiful, charming, and when things were good, she made me feel like I was on top of the world. I willingly fell into the provider role. I actually took pride in paying for everything. I covered the rent for our luxury 2-bedroom apartment downtown. I added her to my premium health insurance plan because she didn't have one herself. When her old Honda finally died, I didn't just help repair it. I went out and leased a brand new Mercedes C-Class because she claimed she needed it to maintain her image. And this detail is extremely important later on. I put the lease entirely under my name because her credit score was somewhere in the low 500s. I simply listed her as an authorized driver. I also placed her on my phone plan with unlimited everything and handed her a supplementary credit card for emergencies and household expenses. Right in the middle of our argument, she looked at me and said, "Let's be real. You need me far more than I need you. So if you don't start acting right, I'll just replace you." I didn't say a single word. The very next day, I canceled her phone, stopped making the car payments, removed her from my health insurance, and shut down everything that was under my name. A few hours later, she called me from a friend's phone in full panic mode. I simply said, "Then go find your replacement," and I hung up. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoy stories like this. And if you have a story of your own, feel free to send it to me. You'll find my contact information in the description below, and I'd be happy to feature your story in a future video. Thanks. As I'm telling this story, I'm sitting in my new living room. It's peaceful. No reality shows blasting through the apartment, no mountain of Sephora bags scattered across the hallway, and no atmosphere so tense it feels impossible to breathe. For the first time in 3 years, my bank account is actually increasing instead of bleeding money, and even my resting heart rate has dropped by almost 10 beats per minute. But if you want to understand how I got here and the complete scorched earth operation I had to launch to finally achieve this peace, you need to understand the relationship between me, a 29-year-old guy, and my ex-girlfriend, who we'll call Vanessa, a 27-year-old woman. I'm a software engineer, and I make good money. I'm not flying around in private jets, but I earn enough that I don't really stress about grocery prices. I grew up with very little, so financial security means everything to me. When I love someone, I naturally want to make their life easier. I want to take away their burdens. Vanessa, however, was mostly ornamental. That sounds cruel, but looking back, I realize that's exactly how she saw herself. She was trying to become a lifestyle influencer, and in our relationship, that basically meant posting pictures of the dinners I paid for, the vacations I funded, and the apartment I rented, all while using captions like Moss Babe and hashtag selfmade. At first, I didn't mind. I loved her deeply. She was beautiful, charming, and when things were good, she made me feel like I was on top of the world. I willingly fell into the provider role. I actually took pride in paying for everything. I covered the rent for our luxury two-bedroom apartment downtown. I added her to my premium health insurance plan because she didn't have one herself. When her old Honda finally died, I didn't just help repair it. I went out and leased a brand new Mercedes C-Class because she claimed she needed it to maintain her image. And this detail is extremely important later on. I put the lease entirely under my name because her credit score was somewhere in the low 500s. I simply listed her as an authorized driver. I also placed her on my phone plan with unlimited everything and handed her a supplementary credit card for emergencies and household expenses. Her expression changed instantly. This wasn't the same spoiled, pouty Vanessa I had known. There was something much colder behind her eyes now, something far more sinister. "Excuse me?" she said. "You heard me. The spending ends. The trip ends. It's time for you to start contributing, Vanessa. I'm not some endless ATM. If you want to go to Aspen, then get a job and pay for it yourself." She let out a laugh, but there was no humor in it. It was dry and empty. Rising from the couch, she walked toward me and stopped just inside my personal space. Her eyes slowly scanned me from head to toe, filled with nothing but pure contempt and pity. "You really don't understand, do you?" she asked quietly. "Understand what?" I replied. "You think paying the bills means you're the one in control?" She shook her head with a smug smile. "Money is the easy part. Any boring guy with a degree can make money. But this," she said, motioning toward herself, her face and body, "this is rare. You're lucky just to be standing next to me. My friends constantly ask why I'm even with you. You're boring. You're predictable. You're average." I stood there speechless. My blood was burning with anger, yet on the outside I felt strangely numb. I didn't say anything. I simply watched as she kept digging her own grave. She mistook my silence for weakness. Taking another step forward, she poked my chest with her perfectly manicured nail. "Let's be honest, Mark," she said, staring directly into my eyes. "You need me far more than I need you. I'm the one who brings status. I'm the one who brings excitement. You're just the guy who pays for everything. And if you don't start acting right, I'll replace you." She paused and allowed those words to settle in the room. "There are 10 guys in my DMs right now who would gladly pay for that Aspen trip," she added. "Keep that in mind the next time you want to lecture me about a pair of boots." I looked at her and waited for my anger to explode. I expected myself to yell, to argue, to remind her of everything I had done for her. But none of that happened. Instead, an unusual sense of calm settled over me. It was as though a switch inside my mind had suddenly flipped. The love I felt didn't slowly disappear. It vanished. The attraction didn't weaken. It crumbled into dust. Looking at her now, I no longer saw my girlfriend. I saw a liability. I saw a terrible investment. I saw someone occupying space she hadn't earned. She took my silence as surrender. Smirking, she patted my cheek in a condescending way and turned back toward the couch. "I'm ordering sushi," she tossed over her shoulder. "Don't worry, I'll just put it on the card." "Okay," I answered. My voice was flat and steady. I walked right past her, entered the bedroom, and quietly shut the door. Sleep never came. I lay there staring at the ceiling while listening to her laugh on the phone with her friends in the other room. I imagined her bragging about how she had put me in my place, how she had secured the Aspen trip, how tightly she had me wrapped around her finger. She had told me she could replace me. She had openly admitted that our relationship was nothing more than a business arrangement. I paid for everything, and in return, she offered me the privilege of her presence. Fine, I thought. If this relationship is a transaction, then transactions can be canceled. I waited until 2 a.m, certain she was asleep. Then I quietly got up and walked into the living room. Her purse sat on the counter. I opened it and removed the spare key to the Mercedes, the same car I was paying $780 a month for. I slipped it into my pocket. After that, I sat down in front of my laptop and opened a spreadsheet. I wasn't acting out of anger. I was operating with the cold precision of an accountant reviewing damaged books. I began listing every single thing in her life that existed because of my name. The car, the insurance, the phone, the apartment lease, the authorized credit cards, Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime. She had claimed I needed her. She had insisted she could replace me. So I decided to give her the chance to prove it. Then I created a to-do list for the morning ahead. It was going to be a very busy day. I walked out of the apartment at exactly 6:30 a.m. Vanessa almost never got up before 10 a.m., especially after spending half the night manifesting her dream life and doom-scrolling Instagram until 2 in the morning. I used the guest bathroom to shower, put on my best suit, the one I usually saved for important client meetings, and packed a single duffel bag with everything I needed: my laptop, important documents, passport, and enough clothes for a week. Then I headed down to the parking garage. My simple sedan sat beside the white Mercedes C300 she loved so much, the one I leased for her. Under the fluorescent lights, it looked spotless and expensive. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the spare key, unlocked the door, and climbed inside. The cabin smelled like vanilla perfume and pure entitlement. I wasn't stealing anything. You can't steal something that's legally yours. My name was the only name on the lease. I drove the Mercedes out of the garage and headed across town to my office building, which had secure underground parking accessible only by badge. I parked it in a quiet corner on the lowest level, locked the doors, and walked away without looking back. Step 1 was done. The asset was secured. After that, I stopped at a coffee shop near the office, ordered a black coffee, opened my laptop, and checked the time. It was 7:15 a.m. That's when the administrative massacre officially began. First came the credit cards. I signed into my Amex account and found Vanessa listed as an authorized user. I clicked Remove Cardholder. A message popped up asking if I was sure. I clicked Yes. Status canceled. Then I repeated the process with the Visa card. Next came the subscriptions. I changed the Netflix password, forcing every device to log out. Then I did the same with Spotify, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. Petty? Maybe. But she always claimed she brought the excitement while I simply paid for everything. I figured she could handle paying for her own entertainment from now on. After that, I moved on to the phone. Through Verizon, I didn't cancel her line right away because that process took longer. Instead, I selected the option to suspend service for her device. When it asked for a reason, I chose lost or stolen, effective immediately. Finally, it was time for the nuclear option, the apartment. I waited until 9 o'clock when the leasing office opened. Then I walked in and sat down with the property manager, a kind woman named Brenda who had watched me pay rent on time every month for the last 2 years. "Hey, Mark, everything okay?" she asked. I looked at her and said, "I need to break the lease, Brenda." Her eyes widened. "You guys still have 6 months left. The penalty is pretty heavy. 2 months' rent plus losing the deposit. 2 months of rent totaled $6,400. A painful amount, sure, but compared to staying with someone who openly despised me, it felt like a bargain." "I'll write the check right now," I told her. "I'm moving out today. I know Vanessa is still living there, but I'm removing my name from the renewal. Since I'm the only one meeting the 3 times income requirement, I assume she'll have to qualify on her own or move out within 30 days. Brenda just stared. She knew Vanessa. She knew Vanessa didn't have an income. "Yeah," she finally said. "If your name comes off, she has to apply by herself. And if she can't provide proof of income, we'll have to issue a notice to vacate." "Are you sure about this?" I answered without hesitation. I've never been more sure about anything. I wrote the check, signed the paperwork, and just like that, I was officially homeless. $6,000 poorer and completely free. I returned to the office, turned off my phone, and got back to work. For the first time in a long time, I had an incredibly productive morning. I spent 3 straight hours coding without a single interruption, asking me to PayPal money to someone selling a juice cleanse. At 11:45 a.m., I finally switched my phone back on. The screen exploded like a casino jackpot. 14 missed calls, all from Vanessa. 22 text messages, also from Vanessa. I didn't bother reading every one of them. The previews alone told me exactly how her morning had unfolded. The first message, sent at 10:15 a.m., simply read, "Where's the car? It's gone." "Did you take it to the car wash?" 10:20 a.m. Mark, answer me. "The car's gone. I'm calling the police." 10:30 a.m. Why is my card being declined? I'm standing at Starbucks, and this is humiliating. 10:45 a.m. Mark, answer your phone. Mine isn't making calls. I'm connected to Wi-Fi. What the hell is going on? 11 a.m. I swear, if you're doing this because of what I said last night, you're insane. Then the phone rang once again. Unknown number. I already knew who it was. She had borrowed someone else's phone, probably Sarah's, her best friend and biggest enabler, who lived in the same complex. I took a slow breath. I wasn't angry anymore. I felt like a customer service agent dealing with a difficult customer for the very last time. Hello? Are you out of your mind? Her voice was so loud I had to move the phone away from my ear. She was practically hyperventilating. Mark, where's my car? Why is my phone disconnected? I tried buying coffee and my card wouldn't work. I'm standing here with Sarah looking like an idiot. Calm down, I said, my voice low and cold. Don't tell me to calm down. You stole my car. I'm calling the cops. It's not your car, Vanessa. It's mine. The lease is under my name. I simply repossessed it. It's safe. Silence. You took the car? How am I supposed to get to my nail appointment? Take an Uber. Then I paused. Oh, wait, you can't. The credit card is canceled too. You canceled the cards? Her voice cracked. The rage was fading and fear was beginning to take over. Mark, stop this. This isn't funny. You're punishing me. This is abuse. You can't just cut me off. I have needs. You have needs? I repeated. Funny, I thought you said I was the one who needed you. I was angry. I didn't mean it like that. You were very clear, Vanessa. You said, and I quote, "Let's be honest, you need me more than I need you." You said you brought the status while I just paid the bills. I was just... And you also said, I interrupted, slicing through another excuse, that if I didn't act right, you'd replace me. Remember saying that? Mark, please. I'm sorry. Just turn my phone back on. I need to call my mom. I need to get to my appointment. Stop acting like a baby. She still didn't understand. She thought this was a timeout. She thought I was throwing a tantrum and that I'd come home by dinner carrying flowers and an apology. I'm not acting like a baby, Vanessa. I'm accepting your terms. I realized you were right. I was only holding you back. You're the prize, remember? You're rare. You said you had 10 guys in your DMs ready to finance your lifestyle. Mark, stop. Before the call ended, she had already started crying. Where are you? When are you coming home? She asked between sobs. I'm not coming home, I answered calmly. I went to the leasing office this morning. I paid the lease termination fee. I'm off the agreement. You have 30 days to either sign a new lease under your name or move out. Brenda from the office will be putting the notice on the door any minute now. What? She whispered in disbelief. I can't afford the rent. It's $3,200 a month. I know, I replied. But you said I was boring and average. You said you didn't need me. Surely a woman with your status doesn't need some boring average guy to cover her rent. You can't do this to me, she screamed. In that moment, the mask came off completely. The confident boss babe disappeared, replaced by a frightened child who suddenly realized nobody else was going to save her. You can't leave me with nothing. What am I supposed to do? I stared out the window of my office. The city looked brighter than it had in years. The pressure I'd carried on my chest had vanished. You said you'd replace me, I said in a cold, final tone. I'm simply giving you a head start. Go find your replacement, Vanessa. Then I ended the call. I blocked her number immediately. I blocked Sarah's number too. I blocked her Instagram, her TikTok, and even her email. I looked at my phone for a moment, expecting guilt to hit me. It never did. The silence that followed was the most expensive thing I had ever purchased, and somehow it was worth every single cent. For the next 2 weeks, I stayed in an extended stay hotel while searching for a new place. I thought I would feel lonely. I thought I would miss her. Instead, it felt like I'd finally taken off a backpack filled with bricks that I'd been carrying around for the last 2 years. My phone battery suddenly lasted all day. My credit card bill became almost boring. I started sleeping 8 hours every night. But the drama wasn't over yet. Right on schedule, the flying monkeys showed up. 2 days after the breakup, I received a message from Sarah, Vanessa's best friend and biggest enabler. She was the same person who had convinced Vanessa that she was some high-value woman who deserved to be financially supported. I can't believe you, Sarah wrote. You left her with nothing. She's at her parents' house crying nonstop. You're a narcissist and a financial abuser. How can you sleep at night knowing you destroyed her life? I read the message while eating a steak dinner, paid for with money that usually disappeared on Vanessa's hair extensions. Surprisingly, I wasn't angry. I simply answered with facts. Destroyed her life? No, Sarah. I just stopped funding it. She told me she could replace me easily because I was nothing more than a wallet. I'm just giving her the chance to prove herself right. Sarah replied, she was angry. You know she can't pay that rent by herself. I answered, then maybe she shouldn't have bitten the hand that was signing the checks. Anyway, good luck, Sarah. Then I blocked her too. Over the next few months, I slowly heard the details of Vanessa's replacement plan through mutual friends. And honestly, it was a complete disaster. As it turned out, those 10 guys filling up her DMs were exactly what I had expected all along. They wanted access to her, not responsibility for her bills. None of them wanted to pay a $3,200 lease. When she started reaching out to them for help, they disappeared without a trace. The wealthy sugar daddy types she thought she could attract weren't interested in a 27-year-old woman carrying debt and baggage. They preferred 21-year-olds with no expectations and no complications. She couldn't qualify for the apartment on her own, and after the 30 days were over, she was evicted. With nowhere else to go, she moved back in with her parents in the suburbs, which for an influencer felt worse than death. Her Instagram slowly went silent. It's hard to keep posting #luxury life content when you're sitting in your childhood bedroom with an old boy band poster hanging on the wall. Meanwhile, my life completely changed. I invested the money I was saving, nearly $4,000 every month. I started going to the gym, not because I wanted her back, but because I wanted myself back. I reconnected with friends I had neglected because Vanessa never liked them. Eventually, I started dating again, carefully this time. That's when I met a woman named Elena. She was a nurse. During our first date, she actually reached for the check. I nearly broke down. Of course, I paid, but that simple gesture alone healed something inside me that I didn't even realize had been broken. 6 months later, I unexpectedly ran into Vanessa. It was a quiet Sunday morning, and I was at a high-end grocery store picking up a bottle of wine for a dinner party I was hosting that evening. As I turned into the pasta aisle, I stopped. There she was. She looked different. She was still attractive. 6 months doesn't erase good genetics. But something had changed. The sparkle she always carried was missing. Her hair wasn't styled. The expensive boots were gone. Instead, she wore plain sneakers. She looked exhausted. In her basket sat a frozen meal and a bottle of cheap Pinot Grigio. The moment she noticed me, she froze. Then she quickly adjusted her hair and straightened her back. Old habits die hard. "Mark," she said. Her voice sounded breathless, trying to mix surprise with excitement. "Hey, Vanessa," I replied calmly. My pulse didn't rise. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel affection. I felt absolutely nothing, just indifference. "Wow," she said while looking me over. I was wearing a fitted polo and was in better shape than I had been in years. "You look really good." "Thanks. Life's been treating me well." She shifted slightly and gave me that familiar look, the one that used to make me apologize for things that were never my fault. "I miss you, you know. I've been thinking about us a lot." I simply stared at her. "I know I said some crazy things," she continued as she stepped closer, invading my personal space. "I was stressed. I realized I took you for granted. The guys out there are terrible. They don't treat me the way you did." Then she reached out and gently touched my arm. "Maybe we could grab coffee sometime. Catch up. I've changed a lot." I looked down at her hand resting on my arm and then back into her eyes. I could see it clearly. The calculation. She didn't miss me. She missed the Mercedes. She missed the apartment. She missed the security. She had searched for a replacement, discovered that the market value for an entitled princess had collapsed, and now she was trying to return to the dependable backup she once ignored. I slowly stepped away, breaking the contact. "I don't think that's a good idea, Vanessa," I said. Her expression immediately changed. "Why? You're still angry? Come on, Mark. You know we were great together. You need someone who pushes you." I laughed softly, a genuine laugh. "That's the funny part," I said, speaking with complete honesty. "You were right that night. You said I needed you." Her eyes brightened. She thought she had won. See? I knew it. I needed you to show me exactly what I should never tolerate, I corrected her. You taught me that my value isn't tied to my bank account. And once I understood that, I realized I never needed you at all. The smile disappeared from her face. I already found a replacement, Vanessa, I said, motioning toward my life, my peace, and the reality I had built for myself. And she doesn't cost me my self-respect. I grabbed the bottle of wine I needed from the shelf beside her. Good luck with the brand, I said. Then I walked toward the checkout counter. I never looked back. I didn't have to. I already knew what she looked like standing alone in that pasta aisle, finally understanding that the ordinary man she tried to throw away was the only person who had ever truly valued her, and she traded him for a fantasy that never existed. I paid for my groceries and stepped outside into the sunlight. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And tell me what you think about this story. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.